Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So, I have this friend at my high school who is conservative, and he sent me, because we always send each other anything, like whenever we think that we've like owned them or like shown how bad the other side is. Which, I mean, I'm not trying to actually like show that Republicans are bad or whatever, but I am just trying to show him some of the faults in Republican logic, in my opinion. But he sends me a article that basically identified the most recent mass shooting in Canada, a transgender. And really his claim was that if you're transgender, you are more likely to commit crimes. And that, I'm sorry, I know my friend sometimes watches these videos. That is a unbelievably stupid claim, because there's no evidence to support the idea that transgender people commit more crimes than someone who is cisgender. That is a fact. There's no evidence. And he showed me another thing, and it was about the Minnesota shooting last year. And once again, and I decided to look up the thing about if you're trying to make a claim that a certain demographic is doing this, there needs to be a real pattern, not just every one or two cases per year. And I looked up the statistics. In 2025, there were about over 400 mass shootings in 2025. Only one of those has been proven to be a transgender. The shooter was actually someone who was transgender. So that there shows that there is no evidence to show that to prove that transgenders are more likely to commit crimes or mass shootings. So yeah, I'm sorry to my friend who might watch this, but that is a really stupid claim, because there's no evidence. And you might feel that way, maybe because you don't like trans, or you just don't think you don't really, if you have a religion, maybe you just, being transgender kind of goes against your religion. But to make that claim, to try and demonize trans people for doing that, it's just cruel, and it's silly, because no matter how you feel about trans people, there's no evidence to to say that trans people are violent criminals. There's no evidence in the world. And I think that that's kind of the thing with a lot of Republicans. And of course, there's people on the left. But they'll take these very, very small small events or shootings, and they'll say that, oh, look, this is a trans shooter. That it's proof that trans shooters are more likely to be serial killers. But it's one event. It's one single shooting. And I'm not saying that that's bad. We should always condemn any shooting. But to try and say that is proof to why trans people are more dangerous than cisgender people is incredibly stupid. And I'm just going to say this to my friend, who I think he's a pretty smart guy, that I think that you're better than this, and that you've made a lot better arguments, but that's just a silly argument. All right, so that's it for me. Bye. I'm sorry to my friend if I absolutely shamed you for doing that, but I just wanted to point out how very silly that argument is. All right, bye guys.